Now, speaking of Mission Impossible, so my talk of the table is the start of Mission Impossible Week right here on CBS Mornings. All week long, we will hear from the stars of the highly anticipated movie Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, ahead of its release Friday, just like Gayle said. And we begin this week with Golden Globe-nominated actor Hayley Atwell. She plays Grace, a thief who becomes the newest member of Ethan Hunt's team. In the new movie, Ethan Hunt and his team fight to stop their nemesis Gabriel in the all-powerful AI called the Entity from destroying the world.
Hey, God! Save him! Shoot him! Shoot him! Kill him! Kill him! Catch me if you can, Ethan!
You go after him and get the pill. We'll get to the server room.
You're forgetting the bomb. The nuclear bomb.
We'll figure it out. Ethan!
Go!
I got this. Go.
Think of an eye.
Harris! Cover! Cover!
The film is distributed by Paramount Pictures, like CBS, part of Paramount Global. Hayley Atwell joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, Miss Badass. What does that feel like?
It's so wild. I watched this with an audience for the first time in Japan a couple of weeks ago. And even though I was in the movie and I know what happens, I still was just blown away watching how they put this thing together.
There is a level of intensity that starts from the very beginning, and it doesn't let you go until the very end. The movie, it took you all over the world, but one place specifically that I was shocked by, the Arctic.
Yes.
You were in the tundra. Some people might be watching the movie and say, is that green screen? No. You were out in the elements.
We were so far north that the northern lights were below us.
What?
So the southern lights, as far as we were concerned. It was minus 40 degrees, and we had to train to know what it was like, how to survive, how to work out there. And I think that the memory that I'll take with me over the whole 5 years of working in this franchise is the set being interrupted by the presence of a polar bear that would walk across the set. And I think the thing with polar bears, they're so deceptively cute. Yeah. They just look cuddly. And of course,
your character's actually warned about the polar bear.
Yeah, there's that moment.
Yeah, that whole moment was improvised.
Oh, it was?
Oh, really?
Yes, Lucy, who plays Topeza, she's such an extraordinary actress, has incredible stoicism and dignity on screen, and we were coming up with a scene where our characters don't speak the same language, but we're brought together for a common cause, and how were we going to develop a rapport? So that was sort of kind of a mimed, improvised.
It was good.
It was well done.
But you're doing your stunts too. You know, it's called Mission Impossible for a reason, is it not?
Yes, it's not mission a bit difficult.
Yeah, it's not Mission a bit difficult. Yes.
Yeah, we trained in the Arctic specifically. I was working with sled dogs, and for anyone who's worked with. And here we go, there's the footage here. This was part of my training. This is where we were. It was so beautiful. That is the frozen sea that I'm standing at.
Frozen sea.
I know, but you know what I like, Hayley, is a relationship between you and Tom, because it's sometimes on screen. Sometimes it seems romantic, and then in other times it's like, I'm good, you're good, let's go.
Right.
Yeah, well, I feel like it's what audiences, and certainly what I want from an action film, which is the woman is not just the object of desire, or she's not led with a romantic agenda. In so many walks of life, we're different versions of ourselves depending on the dynamics that we find ourselves in. So there is intellectual stimulation between them. There is a common cause that brings them together. There is something that feels sibling-like, romantic, of course, and also maternal, too.
Yeah.
And it creates a more nuanced intimacy, I think, which feels... You get that on a human level, these people care about each other.
Yes.
Tom Cruise is really amazing, and the industry seems to recognize this, right? There's this like 5-minute standing ovation from many of his peers in France at the big festival debut. You've worked with him for 5 years now. What's he like off camera? What's the set like?
I think the thing that when the cameras aren't rolling, and the thing that I think is not spoken about enough, is his kindness. And this is something that I know people who have either met him or worked with him always comment on.
Agree.
And there is an example of that. There's a lot that he does that gets unnoticed, and it's not for the press. It's his ability to help people and to actively be there for people, and so that everyone feels safe working around him. He takes his role as this incredible movie star and producer very seriously. So it's up to him to make other people feel comfortable. I remember the first few months of working with him, he took my grandmother up in a helicopter. at sunset on Christmas Eve. And for a man who's like an aerobatic pilot, seeing him be so gentle and kind and patient with her and explaining how everything worked, that to me was like just a mark of a really decent guy.
With no cameras around, that's because that is who he is.
Yes.
It really is.
Yeah, I am nuts about him. So why are you stealing from him? It says she takes things from Tom.
Wait a minute.
Yes. Wait a minute.
I revealed
you play
this-
a thief in the movie.
Yeah. And then
Expert thief.
Expert thief. Yeah.
Well, look, I'd never been a thief before, so I needed
what
to
have you
practice.
taken? What have you done?
A salt and pepper shaker, an ashtray, a necklace, a watch, the cruciform key that's a prop in the movie, like the prop of the movie.
Wow. Of
A poison pill, also one of the key props of the movie. I've also managed to steal his gym socks.
Yeah.
And what do you do with all these
And this is just to
What do
prove
you
that
do? Yes.
you're improving at your
Practicing my
skills.
dexterity and my like sleight of hand tricks.
No,
It's
it's-
all for the camera.
it also-
Was he wearing the socks at the time?
That's good, Tony. It also says Final Reckoning, but all of us watch the movie. I just can't believe that's the end. You leave enough of the door wide open that if there was to be a sequel. What are your thoughts about that?
I think this movie is the accumulation of all the missions that have gone before in terms of its ambition and also how it satisfyingly ties up plot points and characters that people have been watching for the last 30 years. But it's ultimately life-affirming, and it centers on the importance of friendship, belonging to a team, and the fact that what meaning can be gained from letting go of personal ambition and working together for the common good.
But the question, Hayley Atwell, is do you
no,
really
you see
think
how I dodged that one?
It's hardcore journalism. Go, Gil. Get her, Gil.
Hayley Atwell, do you really think it's the end?
Oh, who can
Okay, you signed too long.
Well, we just hope not.
I'm not the
Thank
head of the
you. Who
studio.
knows?
I'm just an actor for hire. I
Well,
have
we
no
appreciate
idea.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You kick butt in this movie.
Congrats.
It's
Yes.
awesome.
He's hanging on planes, fight scenes on top of
It's all-
trains. It
all
all
of it.
happens in Mission Impossible. 8 installments, but Mission Impossible Final Reckoning hits theaters this Friday. And we are counting down the days in a special Mission Impossible week that's arrived right here on CBS Mornings Plus. Henry Czerny plays CIA director and the former head of the IMF, Eugene Kittredge, who is a sort of antagonist, often at odds with Tom Cruise's character, Ethan Hunt. And he joins us now. Henry, good morning.
Good morning. Great
What
to
does
be
it
here.
feel to finally be here? Because you were in the very first Mission Impossible.
Here,
Kittredge.
like with you guys?
Here with us
Finally,
physically.
I've been waiting
Yes.
for this for a decade.
For
You know,
decades,
yes,
plural.
my
I'm
God.
sure.
It's like, this is way better than anything I've ever done in my entire life.
But you're
Yeah.
basically the bread in the Mission Impossible sandwich. You were in the first movie ever, and you're now back. You were in the last 2 installments.
All I can hear is bread in the Mission Impossible. I'm going to remember that for the rest of my life now. And I understand now why I'm here. Yes, I was there at the
Yes.
beginning, and
You're
here
back.
at, who knows, maybe the
Yeah,
end.
Maybe
it's
the
clearly not
ending.
the end because
You know,
everyone's
it's just
leaving the door very open.
Final
Yes.
reckoning, but maybe it's the penultimate
Yes.
reckoning. Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
work.
It feels great.
Yes.
Is that the question?
That's the question.
Yeah, it feels fantastic. First of all, you get to, and I hadn't been in Hollywood for that long. It was back in '95, and I got a chance to work with Tom and Brian De Palma on a character that we were developing, and then let it go, and then you live life, and all this stuff happens to you, as you know, and you go through all kinds of things, and then 25 years later, they ask you to come back, and we're going to have another look at that character after he's been through a whole bunch of stuff. What do you say? It's brilliant.
It is brilliant, but you're brilliant in the role because your
Very kind
character
of
on
you.
screen seems to be full of bile and acid
bile,
and
yes.
intensity
Yes.
and rolling emotions, and the monologues are so memorable. And then I see you sitting here, and
Yeah.
do you play the bongo in a band on the weekends? You look
Kind of,
like
yeah. I'm
pretty
a
relaxed,
woodworker.
you know?
I make my own bongos. I actually don't really, but maybe I will.
So where does all of that character come from? 'Cause
Comes from the script mostly. Read the script and read it over and over and over again. And
Look at
Look
the
at
side
that
by
side by
side. Let's
side.
put that back up for a second. Yeah, that's you today, and
hold on.
yeah. Exactly.
who is that guy?
I know exactly.
Well, he comes through. I mean, the whole idea is you read it, you imagine what this person has gone through, you dig into everything that you have that might relate to something that they've done in their life, and you put all the other stuff away, and somebody calls action, and you get the hell out of the way, and see what happens, see what comes out. And when you're working with McHugh and
director.
Tom, they will give you the space to. Clearly, the script is what it is. I'm not going to start, cracking lousy dad jokes on camera. And so they allow you to fill it with what you have brewing. And you know, as a young actor, you want to get it right. And over the years, you realize, you know, pack up the instrument and get the heck out of the way when somebody calls action.
I love that advice.
Yeah.
Get out of the way.
Yeah, it's the way to do it.
So we were joking about whether there's going to be another installment of this. Well, actually, let me ask you this question.
You were joking about that?
No,
you were joking about Mission Impossible?
Breaking news. No, I want to ask you this. Your character, there is some debate about whether your character is a force for good or for ill.
Then I've done my job.
But do you know?
Do you have an opinion on the matter?
Yeah.
I have an opinion. Yeah, my opinion is I try and play people where if you were in their shoes, you'd kind of go,
Exactly.
well, actually, you know what? He's kind of a point. I don't like him. I don't like him because he reminds me of parts of me that I don't particularly like, but you know, maybe he's got a point. And I love the franchise in that way, is that they've allowed that.
Yeah.
They didn't turn, and if you look at each character in these latest iterations, they give, even Isai's character, Gabriel, they give people weight, they give people dimension, as opposed to, you need to grimace at him because he's got to be the guy that wins the day. They allow people to have dimensions, and
well, you have a lot of gravity in this, and it's in a film that is packed with major stars and big moments.
Yes.
You really own the screen when you're on it.
Thank you. They allow that. They ask for it, and it's a pleasure for me to dig around for them and offer that up in a fantastic iteration of Mission Impossible.
And
Henry Czerny, thank you.
Not the last.
Yes,
Henry Czerny, thank you very much.
I want to look at the calendar on your phone to see if there's any soft holds next year for any long movies that might be action-packed overseas.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see. Maybe, he says. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is in theaters, Dolby Cinema, and IMAX this Friday.
It's Mission Impossible week, and we are hearing from big stars of this highly anticipated new film, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. You've heard about it. It opens in theaters on Friday. Run, don't walk. It's Oscar-nominated actor Angela Bassett. She's returning as Erica Sloan, now President of the United States. Thank you very much. She blindsides her team when she chooses to help Ethan Hunt, that's Tom Cruise, who's fighting an all-powerful AI known as the Entity.
You let Hunt go?
That's what I said.
With the key?
Well, he couldn't do much without it.
So where is he now?
Somewhere in the northern Pacific, I assume.
You gave him an aircraft carrier?
I am the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, Mr. Secretary. It is my aircraft carrier, and I do with it as I please.
You knew this would happen. I suspected. You could have at least told us.
I just did, and now you're excused?
Madam President.
That will be all.
That will be all. Thank you very much. The film is distributed by Paramount Pictures, like CBS, you know this, part of Paramount Global. We're very delighted to say that Angela Bassett is here in the studio. A round of applause to you. Before we talk about the interview, they had the premiere in New York the other day. This is Angela Bassett talking about you on the red carpet, what people said. Show the pictures, please. Angela Bassett didn't walk the red carpet, she owned it. Woo. Angela Bassett is quite literally the definition of a woman living up to their hotness.
Wow.
Angela Bassett, you did that. And it's very hard to stay professional when she looks like this. And that's Madam President to you.
Can I add this, Gayle?
Yes, yes.
For decades.
For decades. Oh, that's so
Stunning.
true.
For decades, just
So
like Mission
true.
Impossible.
That's right, for decades.
Another one that's been around for decades.
What was your reaction? You had to be over the moon when they said, we want you to come back as Erica Sloan as
Oh,
president.
I was so thrilled because we had gone through a pandemic, we'd gone through a couple of strikes in
Yes.
LA, so you didn't know which way it was going.
There are
but
no
I
guarantees.
remember sitting on the beach at home in Florida and got a call from Tom and the director, McHugh, and they said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I got a way that you're gonna be back.
From Tom and the director. Oh,
yes.
I love this.
I was like, okay, guys.
You know, she's got nerves of steel, as we saw in that clip, but you also made the decision to play her as a calming presence, too. Where did that come from, Angela? What was your thinking about what you wanted her to be?
Oh, you know, I happen to be a mom of twins, rambunctious twins, and sometimes you can't go crazy when they go crazy. Someone has to remain calm. But yeah, the situation is so stressful that you don't have to add another element of that. But I love playing with the juxtapositions.
What I can appreciate about your career is that you have chosen roles that bring a beautiful light to you being a woman and a woman of color. Another thing that stood out in this movie while I was watching it is that there were women in positions of power making decisions that impacted the storyline. How great was it to step into a role like this?
Absolutely tremendous, and that comes from the top, from McHugh and Tom. You know, they come by organically, and they believe and trust in that. So they have no hesitation about putting women in those positions. So I love it. I love seeing that representation.
That's right.
So your character,
Expected.
Yeah.
I also love the callbacks to your character's relationship with Ethan Hunt from earlier in the series. And there's trust and there's history, but it's not total trust. Maybe this goes back to parenting twins as well. What is the plan tonight?
Yeah. What
With
did
who?
you say?
Yeah. Where are you going?
To make the mouth say anything.
How'd you strike that?
Make the mouth say. I like that.
Let me watch what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm curious about how you struck that balance on screen.
You know, I just leaned into, you know, a woman following her instincts also. You know, that there's more communication than
That
just
intuition.
what you say or what you do. So, yeah.
You know, when you hear the name Angela Bassett, you think of quality, you think of grace, you think
Yeah.
of talented, you think of talent, certainly. And everybody can say my favorite Angela Bassett movie is fill in the blanks. Because it's so wide-ranging, Angela. Do you have one where you go, yeah, I did that? For me, the Tina Turner movie will always, What's Love Got to Do, will always be one of my favorites.
Definitely.
But do you have one you go, you know, I am good?
That one definitely, because
Yes.
it just required so much. And you know, we had our lovely Tina right there. So if you want to, you know, in contrast, you want to make a comparison. So that called on so much internally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and I showed up.
And fans also know you from the television screen too. Your hit show 911. Big development in that show where you lost your husband. Very popular character.
Yeah, absolutely. We were all shook and stunned by that.
Did you know that was going to happen?
I did
Captain
not.
Bobby Nat- You didn't know?
We did not know until we received the episode, the paper, but we didn't know. He knew. He knew a little before we did, but you know, maybe by a week or a few days. But it was hard on all of us. He had to comfort us.
Well, fortunately, your husband in real life, Courtney B. Vance, alive and well, has a movie coming out of his own.
Yes, on the exact same day.
Yes.
Right?
What's that like?
It's coming out the same day as
Same
Mission
day.
Impossible.
Same day.
Row.
But as Tom says, there's no competition in cinema. So.
Okay.
Okay, I
Well,
like
But he
maybe a
says-
little bit.
Yeah. Well,
Go ahead.
your husband says the secret to a 30-year marriage, which is what you have at this point, is mutual respect. Okay, I got that one. Also, prioritizing what makes your wife happy. Yeah, that's going to work.
He's still
right?
working on that.
Oh, is it?
Aren't we all?
What did you say?
Aren't we all?
What's the part you just said about your mouth?
You can make the mouth say.
Yes.
Describe this movie in one word. Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible is.
Oh, unrelenting.
It is. It grabs you from the beginning and it
Beginning
does
to end.
not let you go. Angela, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having
You
me.
are pure essence of beauty on and off camera.
Yeah.
You're the best. Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning is in theaters, Dolby Cinema, and IMAX this Friday.
We are counting down the days to the release of one of the most hotly anticipated action-packed films of the year. I'm talking about Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. It hits theaters this Friday. Day 2 of Mission Impossible Week here on CBS and CBS Mornings Plus. Today, we've got one of the movie's stars. Greg Tarzan Davis returns to the franchise for a second time as Degas, an agent who switched sides from chasing Tom Cruise's character Ethan Hunt to fighting alongside him, with him. In the new movie, Ethan and the team are in a race against time to stop Gabriel, the relentless villain, from taking control of the Entity, an AI program set on destroying the world.
Gabriel!
Harris! Gabriel, now! Kill him now! Make off! Gabriel, shoot him, kill him! Kill him! Catch me if you can, Ethan!
Happy to say Greg Tarzan Davis is joining us now. So happy to have you here. The movie's fantastic. We've all seen it. And you're in it from almost the very beginning, like nearly the first scene, and you're fantastic. Right, you steal the scene right away. Just that little look, like, what's going on here? What's happening?
Thank you.
You know you contain multitudes. So what's it like to be back in action here?
It feels good. You know, I've had the privilege of joining the first film, Dead Reckoning, and that was a whirlwind when I got the call from Tom and McHugh saying, hey, we like what you did in Top Gun Maverick. We wanted to bring you into this. We don't know what the role is, but we wrote this character for you named Degas, because I'm from New Orleans and it was a French heritage, the French artist. So what do you think? And I was like,
oh, it's named after the French artist Degas.
yeah, because I'm from New Orleans. When you said that, I was like,
and they wrote this part for you.
Yeah. And that was my first ever like offer. You know, that's a dream that we have as actors to say, oh, you know, I'm getting offers now. I felt big time for a quick second, you know?
Yeah.
So were you like, let me check my schedule? Were you like, yes, 1,000 times yes?
Okay, so listen, I've always heard that you have to like play it cool. You don't want to sound too desperate. So I'm on the phone with McHugh and Tom, and I put the phone on mute. I'm like, so then I hear Tarzan, you still with me? And I'm like, yeah. So you're like, what do you think? And I said, you know, but I couldn't hold it. I'm like, yes, McHugh, yes, Tom, let's do it. You know?
That's awesome. I mean, that's a cool story, even more so because just before we came back on, we were talking about how you were a little boy wanting to be an actor, 6, 7 years old.
Yeah.
But then you put it aside thinking, it's a tough path. And you were a teacher, and your kids, pick up the story there. They were telling you.
Yeah, so one of my students, they were like, so I'm always preaching, you can follow your dreams, you can be whatever you want.
First grade teacher.
First grade teacher. And I'm like, you can do it. Adults always say that, and I'm firm about that. So one of my students said, hey, what did you want to be when you got older? And I was like, I want to be a teacher. Get out of my face, little kid. And I was like, you didn't want to be a teacher. Teachers suck. And I was like, man. So they said, what did you really want to be? And I was like, well, I wanted to be an actor. So from then, I was like, let me give it a shot. Let me just see what happens. I gave myself 2 years, which is foolish. Never put a time limit on your dreams. And I've been blessed with opportunities, and you know, I turned it into a final reckoning.
You sure have.
The Final Reckoning, the last movie right before this one in Mission Impossible, also Top Gun.
Mm-hmm.
So you've had 3 movies now with Tom Cruise. You call him a mentor. Is it true you call him your uncle?
Yeah, in my phone, I can't say
Uncle, what are you gonna say?
You know, I have him under. Uncle is the title. Listen, he's been so kind to me. He's like an uncle figure. He's a mentor to me. But you know, over the 8 years of working with him, he's been. If I need anything, I call him. He's there for me. He doesn't always answer, but he'll call me back.
Okay.
And that's what counts most.
What's the advice he's given you, like especially when it comes to acting on this huge stage? Like what one little tidbit has he given you that's really resonated?
Putting the audience first. The reason, the number one question I always ask him is, how did you become a movie star? Because when I was young, I wanted to be a movie star. Still to this day, I want to be the next movie star. They say they're dead, and I'm like, well, guess what? I'm gonna revive it. But you know, he's always like, if you want to do this, you have to understand that the audience comes first. So it's always about how can you impact globally, you know, every audience member.
I think the audience is liking what you're putting down. Is Degas going to come back in some future reckoning?
Perhaps as the main person to take the baton?
Listen, these movies, this is
How long of a contract did you sign anyway with them? 5 years?
Listen, let me say that if it was 5 years and those 5 years have expired doing these damn movies, these other 2 movies. Mission is Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is Mission. You know, this is his baby, one of the first films he's produced, and it'll be hard to see a Mission Impossible without Cruise being attached to it.
Very diplomatic answer. Very good. This message will not self-destruct. It's on camera.
Once upon a time, they said that about the Bond franchise, but you know, they did find another Bond. Greg, Tarzan, Davis, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Go after him and get the pill. We'll get to the server room.
You're forgetting the bomb. The nuclear bomb.
We'll figure it out. Ethan! Go! I got this. Go!
They'll figure it out. They always do. That is actor Simon Pegg in the new film Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. And Mission Impossible Week continues right here at CBS Mornings with big stars from this hotly and highly anticipated new movie before it hits theaters on a Friday. Actors Simon Pegg and Klementieff reprise their roles as Benji and Paris. In the new film, Paris tries to escape custody and seek revenge against her former boss, Gabriel. All right, before we start digesting that action with the actors, this film, I should note, is distributed by Paramount Pictures. We're proud to say, part of CBS and our parent company, Paramount Global. Simon Pegg and Klementieff, welcome.
Good morning.
So great to have you here. All right, let's start, Pom, with those kicks. That's a high leg kick, a lot of velocity coming down. What's it like to shoot scenes like that?
It was amazing. We had an amazing stunt team with Wade Eastwood, the stunt coordinator, and you know, we took the time to rehearse, to do the high kicks, to rehearse the whole choreography. And I had been actually training for years. I was dreaming to do this specific axe kick.
Now, you're known as fantastic at this. I mean, I think they call you Palm Cruise around set, right?
Yeah, it's been my nickname. Like sometimes it pops here and there, you know, but it's a compliment.
Yes, there you go. There you go. Because your eyes, you have this death stare that you know, ruh-roh. This is not, this could go very badly. And not for you, but for whoever you're looking at. But Simon, I'm also fascinated watching you. How does it feel, because you've been with the franchise a very long time.
2 decades.
2 decades,
this
I know.
year. I
Yes.
filmed my first scene November 2005.
Yeah. And how, as you sit here today, what are you thinking? How are you processing all of this?
It's bittersweet, you know. It's lovely to be out on the road and you know, talking about the movie, and it's been 5 years with Dead Reckoning.
Yes.
We've been, you know, working so hard, and here we are, and it's coming out, and there's a sense of sort of achievement and completion, but also a sense like we're not going to hang out so much anymore. You know?
I'm also wondering how you guys process the scenes, because I told you we all went on a field trip and saw it. And some of the scenes are so heart-stopping, and we know, basically, we think it's going to be okay. But you're watching it in real time. Do you get as anxious as we do, thinking, you know, I hope this works out okay?
Of course.
Because it seems very, very, very dangerous.
Well, we watched Tom. We couldn't watch the big stunts in this film because they took place in the sky and underwater.
Yeah.
But on Dead Reckoning, we were up there watching Tom jump off the cliff on the bike, weren't we?
Oh yeah, he
and
did
it was
so many times in front of us, but he was smiling so much. I was so happy.
He loves it.
You wonder how you guys can top yourselves in this franchise?
We almost did top ourselves. No, I don't. Every time we finish a movie, I say to McHugh and Tom, that's it now, isn't it? We can't do anymore. There's no way.
And then
they always say, well, you know. And I think with this one, I genuinely can't see how we could possibly risk his life any more than we do on this.
Yeah, but I mean, it was heart racing, action packed. But at the very end, it left us all wanting more. And we walked out of it saying this
it's
can't
not
be
over.
the final one.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that during the commercial break. But Palm, you know, you joke about having the nickname Palm Cruise on the set. What is it like working with Tom? I mean, we hear, you know, some of the same things about him, that he's kind, he cares about everyone on the set. But what is something that you take away from working with him?
I mean, the thing is, he's so passionate about making movies, about stunts, about all these things. And there is so much training behind it and so much respect of the craft and the work and the challenge that it's just contagious, you know? His passion, his fire, his good energy is just on set. It makes you be even better, you know?
Yeah.
Simon, what do you like most about your character? Because he goes through a lot of evolutions, we should say.
He does. I think for me, Benji's always been like a member of the audience. You know, he's the guy
How
that
so?
He speaks his mind. He comments on the absurdity of the situations they're in. He's kind of like a regular guy in this world of super spies. And I think that's what kind of makes him appealing to the audience. It's like, yeah, I'd be like him.
Yeah.
You know,
Except you're slightly better at computers.
Benji is me.
He worries like us.
Yeah, he's a worrier for sure.
You took your daughter, it says, we read that you took your daughter to see the movie.
Yeah.
How old is she and what was her review about it?
She's
for you?
16, and she watched the whole film like this. With her, and afterwards, she just turned to me and said, "Dad, that was like having a heart attack."
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, Nate said something similar to that too.
It's so good.
Yeah, I think that's a compliment, right? That
Absolutely.
works. Yeah.
And then we spent like an hour looking for her inhaler because she was just like, "Oh God, Dad, I'm having trouble breathing." Oh God, what have I done? You know.
Speaking of trouble, when you guys were filming in the Arctic, I was reading your nose turned white.
Yeah, Hayley told us, Hayley was here the other day and she said that there was an issue with your nose.
Yeah, I mean, I barely have any nose to start with, but I still need it, you know? So it was a problem. The camera was on me, it was a close-up, and it was very cold, you know? But I didn't really realize, and other people told me, your nose, I get warm, and it was becoming white. It's before it gets us.
That's the first sign before frostbite.
That is really frightening.
So it can be very dangerous.
Now,
Minus 40.
Can we talk about fashion for a little bit?
Yeah.
Because You two
Number one,
always
Simon.
look
Can we just say
fantastic.
something about Simon's butter yellow? That is
I'm
the
sorry,
color.
you're talking about this?
Yeah, I'm talking about
guys.
It's the whole thing.
Come on.
The vibes
I mean,
are
by
vibing
the
right
way,
now.
we're kind of like matchy. I'm like in the blue,
Yeah,
you're in the
look.
yellow.
Yeah, it's
We
a
did
thing.
You know.
So you two have fun with fashion, right? And you
Yes.
make videos together.
Yes.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, we would show up during the press
Look
tour,
at these videos.
and we were wearing matching outfits.
Yeah, we see
Without
On purpose.
communicating with each
without
other.
ever
No.
communicating. No. So we do these little 3D videos. I mean, you know, these press tours, I never go out. I spend most of my time in sweats with a dog on my lap. So on these kind of occasions, it's like, okay, let's go.
Here we go.
Tom is so chic.
Oh, thank
it's
you.
Just like,
You're amazing too.
bless your heart. You both
No, we
are.
did a little stunt in Korea. We're like on the luggage cart. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do the splits, blah blah. So we do it, and then the luggage cart just like falls over.
Yeah,
Everyone's
Pom
like,
is
no.
Pom is doing the splits behind me on what is essentially one of those things you put the luggage on.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm sat on it, and the whole thing started to tip. And I had to stand up and brace it because there's no way you could have kind of broken your fall.
No, I was
Oh
just
my
like
gosh.
accepting my fate.
That's how dead.
With a big smile, but also have huge bruises now, like on both legs. So I've been like trying to cover it with makeup because it looks weird.
Well, you
know?
bruise very well. Let me tell you that. You look good.
Palm bruise.
I'm bruised.
I just found my new nickname.
Oh, you guys look great together. You're great. You're great in this as well. Simon and Pom, thank you so much for being here.
So
We really
welcome.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. It's in theaters, Dolby Cinema and IMAX this Friday.
Simon Pegg and Pom Klementieff are here now. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So you guys have some pretty intense scenes together, especially at the end. We're not going to reveal anything.
No, we won't.
We're not going to reveal anything. But what is it like being scene partners with each other? What makes a good scene partner?
It's great. Well, we didn't have any scenes in Dead Reckoning, did we?
Yeah. We were friends in real life because we spent so much time together for the last movie. And this one, finally, we got to do scenes together.
Yeah.
And it was amazing scenes to shoot. It was pretty emotional, too.
Yeah.
It's lovely because Paris and Benji are like opposites, you know? She's this lethal, incredibly skilled fighter. Benji's like a little tech guy.
Yeah.
And yet there's this sort of connection
There
between
is a
them, which is
connection
sweet.
between the two of them.
You know, there's so much of the acting in this movie, in this whole franchise, happens just right here in the upper half of the face. Really, just your scene there a moment ago. Your eyes are saying so much. What's it? Is that typical, or how do you prepare to communicate fear, confusion, and all the rest in just an eyebrow raise?
I guess screen acting is very difficult to theatrical acting. It's all micro expressions. I remember when I first worked with Tom, I was watching him in the scene and I was thinking, he's not doing anything. He's barely moving his face.
You have
And
to
then
be subtle, for
Yeah.
sure.
And I watched the movie and I was like, oh my goodness, he's doing so much. And I just didn't see it, you know?
Yeah.
It's just it's a different skill set.
And for you, Pom, also, like you speak in French in the movie, but you're communicating with everyone through your eyes and also through your body. You kick some serious butt in this movie.
Thank you.
How much of that is you? How much are you doing your own stunts? And what's your training? Are you trained in martial arts?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I did all the fighting myself. And that's what is beautiful about Mission Impossible is that they want you to do that. They welcome it, you know? So we spent so much time rehearsing, training, and yeah, I was with the best team. And of course, I was already training for years before that because I wanted to be in Mission Impossible.
And so
I remember this from Dead Reckoning, actually. Yeah, talking about your journey. And now your nickname on set is Pom Cruise because you're so
Yeah,
capable.
sometimes it was my nickname, but I take it as a compliment,
Yeah.
you know?
So Benji also speaks French in the movie. How's his French, I wonder? What do you think?
It's actually good, you know? There's like a lot of things that I had to tell him like the day of
Yeah, we were
shoot.
shooting a scene and Pom would give me the French and
Like
I would
right
say
before the
it.
take, I would say the few things that he had to say, and he was so good at it. And then he said it on the take, you know. And Tom as well. Of course, Tom is good at everything.
Yeah.
And he picks things up very quickly.
Annoyingly.
So I'm proud of them for speaking French so well.
Yeah, they really did.
So, Pom, you're French by birth, French in real life, and you've got this character named Paris. What kind of person is named Paris? Is that an actual name in France?
Yeah, actually, it's a nod to the TV show,
The
right?
original
The
show,
TV
yeah.
series.
Ah, wow.
There was a character called
Really?
Paris, and it was a man, and so it was like kind of like a clin d'œil, a wink.
There you go.
Yeah, it's like actually in the movie.
It kind of predicts in a way that Paris would, come over because, I think it was Leonard Nimoy, maybe I might be wrong,
Yeah,
but
you're right.
he played Paris in the TV show.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, such a critical character, someone who Tom Cruise saves in the last movie, and then we see a complete transformation of Paris. but you're still so badass. I love it. Simon Pegg and Klementieff, thank you so much. Our Mission Impossible week continues. Actor Tramell Tillman plays Captain Bledsoe, commander of a stealth U.S. submarine. Bledsoe crosses paths with Ethan Hunt, played by Tom Cruise, after Hunt is rescued by Bledsoe's crew. Watch this.
You must be Captain Bledsoe.
And you must be out of your mind. What exactly was the plan if we hadn't shown up?
You know, I really hadn't thought that far ahead.
Okay.
No.
Mind telling me what this is all about?
My mission is classified.
Uh-huh.
I need you to take me north.
Continue.
I'm expecting a set of exact coordinates via Morse code transmission.
And just how exactly do you expect to receive them down here?
Man, it's all in the eyes.
There's no blink.
No blinking. It's so intense. So we sat down with the great Tramell Tillman earlier this week. Take a look. The movie was recently just at the Cannes Film Festival.
Yes.
What was it like seeing yourself finally pop up on that screen?
I mean, the screen is incredible. I mean, you have to see this movie on IMAX because it's just epic, right? And then to be able to experience this film for the first time at the Cannes Film Festival was also a wonderful treat. You know, I've never been, and the film festival is a beautiful place, as is Cannes. So I was glad to be part of it.
I read that you were like, oh my gosh, that's me, that's me.
Like, it's actually happening, you know? It invigorated the 10-year-old Tramell, who had dreams of becoming an actor and never thought that I would be part of a Mission Impossible franchise.
You're more than part of it. You are a scene stealer, and you know, actors have a relationship to themselves on screen. Some love to watch their old stuff. Some people can't watch their old stuff.
Yeah.
I hope you know you're really good in this. Do you see that when you watch it?
No, I appreciate that.
It went well. It went well.
You know, I'm just glad that it didn't go south.
Okay.
For me, and I was really proud of the work, you know. It's hard to watch yourself as an actor.
So how does this character come together? So for people who haven't seen it, you're Captain Bledsoe, who's got a lot of swagger, thousands of feet under the sea. You're the captain of a submarine. How do you bring so much personality to what on the page would just be pretty basic lines?
I mean, I got to give credit where credit's due. And, you know, Christopher McQuarrie, the director, writer, and Tom Cruise really set it up for me to play as much as possible, you know, and like the character is really trying to figure out who this man is and why he's on this ship.
Yeah.
And it was really fun to give, you know, and it was really fun to be able to question him in a real playful way, but also stern.
Yeah.
Because just like you said, he's the boss.
Yeah.
Whatever he says goes.
But there's a beautiful, almost musicality to the way you deliver the lines. You must be out of your mind.
You deliver my favorite line of the film. I'm not going to give it away, but it has to do with poking a bear.
Yeah, I was telling him, yeah.
And I laughed out loud in the theater.
We all did. We got a big reaction.
So we're about the same age. I imagine you grew up watching Mission Impossible.
I did.
So what is it like to then be in Mission Impossible when you arrived at set and you're opposite Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible and what could be the final film? What's going through your mind?
I mean, not only was I watching Mission Impossible, I was doing my own stunts in my living room.
Really?
You know,
Growing
Mission
up?
Impossible. Yeah, it was so fun. And you know, it's amazing to be a part of this, and the crew is so great, and the cast is fantastic, and Tom has been such a lovely scene partner in this process and given me so much advice and counsel, stepping into this world and even beyond.
Any good advice you can remember?
Oh yeah, just stay true to the art.
Yeah.
Stay true to the art form.
As you climbed the ladder as an actor, you were working odd jobs, as people do, including at a bread factory.
Yes, I was.
What is that?
So I worked the graveyard shift, and my job was to sort the bread before it goes into the bag and be packaged. So think of I Love Lucy in the chocolate scene.
Yes, when they're starting to eat it.
Yeah, we're trying to eat it, yeah. So there was a couple moments where I was not fast enough and the bread was just all piling up.
Oh,
and I had to like throw the bread around and toss it out. It was a mess.
Let's talk about Severance for a moment.
Yeah.
I read in one of the articles about you that you have this amazing way of playing both warmth and menace at the same time. There's like a twinkle in your eye, and we saw it in Mission Impossible too. Why does that make you laugh, Tramell?
Because I haven't heard that before.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's true.
I was just having so much fun on that set with Severance, and you know, the character, I'm still figuring him out, but you know, the play and the joy that we have on set, you know, to see the marching band scene and just all of the Ort bow going outside and playing around. It's just fun, and you can lean into that and bring all the mystery as well.
You feel that in the audience for sure. All right, let's do some rapid fire.
Okay.
You down?
All right.
Okay.
Talk to me.
Go to on-set snack.
Ooh. Peanut butter and apples.
He loves peanut butter.
A big peanut butter fan. Favorite dance move?
Favorite dance move?
The Roger Rabbit.
I was gonna say the Running Man.
Oh, the Running Man, which is basically like Running Man's. One is like the backwards of the other one.
Right, right. Which also works for Mission Impossible and for Severance.
Best Milchick line from Severance.
Devour feculence.
Okay.
It's pretty iconic.
Favorite way of relaxing after a long day on set?
Listening to music and taking a nice long bath.
Bath,
Oh,
old
yeah.
school.
Yes.
Bubbles?
Of course.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay.
All right. I'm looking for, there's going to be a bubble bath endorsement coming up real soon. Your agent's going to get a call today.
Let's go. I'm ready.
All right, Tramell Tillman, thank you so much for being here and joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Today is the day finally Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is out in theaters right now. You can go right after the show. We're wrapping up our Mission Impossible week on CBS Mornings with British actor Hannah Waddingham. She may be best known for her role on that hit show Ted Lasso. You heard of that? But now she's playing an admiral on a U.S. Navy ship. Holly Williams sat down with her in London and learned how the character echoes her own family history.
Our lives are the sum of our choices.
The latest Mission Impossible film, The Final Reckoning, is reportedly one of the most expensive movies ever made. An extravaganza of exotic locations and elaborate action sequences. It's also a cautionary tale about artificial intelligence.
I'm sitting on a powder keg, mister.
Starring alongside Tom Cruise is Hannah Waddingham, playing the commander of an aircraft carrier.
One flinch from touching off World War III.
Waddingham told us they filmed their scenes on board a real aircraft carrier, the USS George H.W. Bush, with 4,500 service members on board.
Oh, they were gorgeous. They were gorgeous. Just thousands of people just loving that we were all there, but all of us just so humbled by being around them. As someone who comes from a nautical background, it was really a phenomenal moment.
What's your nautical background?
My grandfather, who we still have, he's 108, was in the Royal Navy, and he's the 5th oldest man in the United Kingdom.
And he
medals up the wazoo.
In the Second World War?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that must have been so meaningful for you.
Yes, another reason why I wanted to do it.
Before moving into television and film, she spent decades on the stage.
I'm very much a team player, and that's what theatre gave me. But I'm so glad that I had 22 years in theatre first.
What about finding fame, big fame, as when you're already a kind of fully formed adult?
I think it's much better. If I had walked the red carpet at Cannes when I was 24, I think I would have lost my tiny mind. But I don't shy away from the fact that I'm 50 and I've well and truly been round the block.
Waddingham is often cast in commanding roles.
Push yourself a bit harder and we'll be halfway there.
From Sex Education to Game of Thrones.
You're fired because I'm the owner now and I don't like you.
And of course, Ted Lasso.
Come on, Richmond!
She won an Emmy for her performance as businesswoman Rebecca Welton.
I purposely take roles that are strong, kind of peripherally, but actually when you peel into the layers, there are softnesses, there's self-doubt, because just because you're 6 foot doesn't mean you're not squishy or self-doubting or anything inside.
Waddingham told us that's also true of herself, but she's determined to enjoy her hard-won success.
I know myself more than ever. All the good bits and all the self-doubting bits, all of it.
It's the prime of your life.
Yeah, but also in a moment where you're not feeling that confident, like being on this job, being on Mission Impossible, they are all so kind and welcoming. It's very easy to have imposter syndrome. You could easily go, oh, I shouldn't be here. You know, you just have to choose. You have to choose to be positive.
For CBS Mornings, I'm Holly Williams in London.
You go, Hannah. I like what
That's
you
right.
said. I'm 50, I own it. Nothing wrong with being around the block. I agree with that, too, because being around the block, to me, hopefully you get wisdom and experience with that. So, and she's so good in this movie.
I love the realism of Mission Impossible. They do it on a real aircraft carrier. Like, what?
Yeah, I said it before, I'll say it again. The women in positions of power in this franchise is so awesome to see. Absolutely love it. All right.
We are wrapping up Mission Impossible week because today is the day. The film is out. One of the most anticipated movies of the year, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, is in theaters right now. You should go today. Don't get on the road. Forget your family. Go to the movie.
Run.
All week, we've been talking to the stars, and today that star is Rolf Saxon. He's back. He returns after nearly 30 years to reprise his role of CIA analyst William Donlow. He's been transferred after some mistakes were made to Alaska after Tom Cruise's Ethan Hunt stole highly classified documents from a CIA headquarters that he was supposed to be protecting. And that was all the way back in the first movie. Well, he's back in this movie, and we spoke to Saxon earlier this week.
So you were in this iconic Mission Impossible scene from the first movie where Tom Cruise falls from the ceiling, drops the
Lasers
knife.
everywhere.
Right.
The floor is activated with sensors. Yeah.
And then when you return in this latest film, there was almost like a buzz in the theater. Does it feel that way for you, a triumphant return?
It's a wonderful opportunity, but actually no, it's like a different job. So it's wonderful coming back, but it's not like a triumphant return.
So did you find the old character within and then just age him 30 years, or did you rebuild the character from scratch?
Not from scratch. He is who he was. It's 30 years later. It's a very different situation for him. And Christopher McQuarrie, the director, also the writer, we talked a lot about what he saw, what he felt was going to be the best way to go, and we worked through to that.
You got to be involved in some, I don't want to give anything away, but some action sequences. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot
in the room.
A little bit going on.
Yeah,
a little bit going on.
Yeah. A lot of work. What was it like preparing for that?
It was fantastic. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. That's pretty exciting stuff.
That's cool stuff.
As good as it looks on camera, being involved with it, it's even better.
It's
even more fun in real life.
Yeah.
So when you heard that there was interest in having you reprise this role, you thought it was a joke.
I did. My agent got a call saying there's a European film company that wants to ask you about a film. I said, great, okay, who are they? Don't know yet. So then I found out it was Skydance, and I thought, oh, really? Yeah, Christopher McQuarrie wants to talk to you about Mission Impossible. And I thought, oh, right, I got a buddy of mine.
Crank call?
I thought that's what it is.
You thought it was your friend.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And the address came up online, and I thought, oh, he's good. Oh, this is good. I'm going to owe him big time on this one.
Email address.
Yeah, he's clever. And then McHugh came up on camera, and it was like, oh my God, this is for real.
Not a prank.
Not a prank, yeah.
So now you're in this movie, people know you're in this movie. You must have friends say, what's it about? What can people expect? How do you answer that question?
What it's about is Mission Impossible, and it's the culmination of 7 previous films, putting it into number 8. And it's a lot of fun. It really is. I've seen it twice now, and it's epic. I mean, I know we use that term a lot, but this really is extraordinary.
I'm not sure I breathed for 3 hours watching this film. It's so, it just takes you on a journey right from the beginning.
Yeah.
For you, it's been nearly 30 years since the first film that you were in. What's changed about playing in this role, playing with Tom Cruise? You don't have as many face-to-face moments with him in the new film, but what has changed this time around?
Technology has vastly improved, vastly changed from 1996, so that's extraordinary. The storyline is very different from number 1. It's morphed to a variety of other levels. That's also very different and very exciting. And just the fact that this is now possibly the largest action franchise in the history of film, and to be asked to be a part of it, I'm good.
And to be part of the action as well. Not
No
just,
kidding.
Yeah,
No kidding.
that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
It's amazing you mentioned the technology because more technology exists now to replace actors actually putting themselves in danger, and yet it seems like Tom Cruise does even more of the action sequences than before.
No kidding. No kidding. I mean, he is an extraordinary human. I've never met anybody like him. 100% focused, and he wants to. When you see that motorcycle, I saw it without the CGI. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't train for it, let alone do it.
Yeah.
Did you have a stunt double, though, or did you do your own stunts?
There was going to be some stunting that was changed. Thank you.
So you got to do it.
Yeah, no. I did
no.
little bits and pieces, but no. Nothing on Tom's level. No.
Still, you own the screen when you're on it, and the beard
thank you,
is
man.
genuine. I see here, it's the real
Yes.
McCoy.
Yes.
You're great. It's great to have you back 30 years later.
Thanks very much, man. I appreciate it. It's nice to be back.
Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is in theaters today. Distributed by Paramount Pictures, which, like CBS, we're proud to say is part of Paramount Global.